Hey, welcome to 4x2 Travel,
Fireside with Mark and Sharon.
and we're going to have a bit of a discussion today on
How boring those,
sea days are.
yeah.
So this is one of those things. You go on we have a fairly long two transatlantics coming up, and a lot of people wonder, good grief, does all these sea days, don't you get bored? What is there to do on sea days as opposed to what would you call port intensive? That's kind of the other kind of cruise.
Right. I mean, where you're going on excursion after excursion.
Yeah, because it's every day is a
Expensive.
different port.
Expensive.
It can be, but every day you're in a different city
And not relaxing.
and yeah, and very busy. But sea days, you got no port.
Right.
All you're doing is you're hanging out on the ship. So, do you like?
Oh, I think if the point of the cruise is to relax, I think sea days are the most relaxing.
Agree, as opposed to wanting to see everywhere.
I mean, anytime you're in a port, FOMO is real. The fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And even during a sea day, maybe it's intentional because it happens pretty much every time that there are at least two or three things scheduled for the same time or overlapping times.
Yeah.
And so you have to be pretty careful with how, what you want to do. And I mean, some people take highlighters and make a schedule and that kind of stuff.
Right.
I think as far as things to do, probably it is in different categories. I mean, to me, the biggest category is it free or does it cost money or the potential of money?
Okay, so what are some of the things that, as we categorize and talk about them, so what are some of the events that do cost money?
Well, your bingo games
Right.
and that kind of stuff. So your games of chance, of course, the casino. That's probably the biggest one.
Sure.
And then anything you can go to the art gallery and the auctions and
Yeah.
I mean it's very interesting, but the whole idea is to get you to spend money.
And I guess there's a couple you can even book a behind the scenes tour. There are some other events, tastings or whatever, and
Right.
they all, now sometimes with status you might get those for free, but some of those also you have to pay for. But what's your favorite thing to do on sea days?
My favorite thing probably, would be to get a massage. Probably to just stay in the thermal suite if that was an option. Aside from that, just probably curling up with a book, whether it's on your balcony or in, a cozy section, maybe if it's warm enough on the pool deck or on one of the the ocean view. No, that's
yeah,
Illinois.
waterfront on some of the ships. Yeah.
The Vibe. We haven't been to the Vibe, but Spice H2O was a nice place just to kind of
relax,
sit in the sun. It really does depend on your itinerary and
Okay, so some of these things that you just mentioned do cost money. I mean, everything.
The Vibe costs money.
And the spa.
And the spa costs
So
money.
yes,
sure.
You can get all sorts of treatments and pedicures and everything else.
Well, you could do that spa package.
Right. But I'm just saying.
We did that one time. And it's great if you run cold. Maybe not so great if you don't.
But that's extra cost for those.
Right.
So what about freebies? I mean, what about things that don't cost extra that we like to do on a sea day?
Well,
besides
growing
just
up with the
out.
book, right. One of my favorites was when we did the Panama Canal and we had the movies at night out on the pool deck.
Okay,
That that was just
and that was
that was
some.
lovely,
It'd be interesting to
but
see if
very
that was
unique. I think
for the
maybe
joy.
to that ship and maybe to that sailing because it was warm enough and it was it was in the
Right.
winter and
But we found that the Joy had a different kind of a pool deck designed
right.
for Asian group
More for Tai
exercises.
Chi and that kind of
Yeah,
thing in the middle of the pool deck. So the pool was kind of off center, and it really allowed for that kind of like that drive-in movie.
theater thing with
Yeah,
popcorn
yeah, that
and
was so
blankets
fun.
and everything else. So
When we got closer to Los
right.
Angeles, yeah.
So they organize a lot of different things for
Oh
sea
yeah,
days,
I mean
and I think we found that you get the daily,
yes,
the printout. You get it. It's in our room. Uh, right around supper time, the steward puts one in the room, and you can look at all the different events
yeah.
that they are organizing for
The
the next
cruise
day.
director's staff,
Right.
and pretty much anything that the cruise director's staff I think is included in your price. There's complimentary, so it could be crafts. So
Yeah, we've done some
we've
crafts.
a long time ago in Hawaii we did crafts. I think in was it Alaska we did a craft.
Yeah.
You always are so good to me and go with me for those. But
Yeah.
there's lots of trivia. The They of course put out the Sudoku and the crossword that you do on your own.
Yeah, we picked those up in the library, and
Right.
we kind of like to do those at breakfast time.
Yep.
So that's one of our things. But uh, you mentioned the different trivia,
I think there's a daily trivia.
and sometimes different kinds of trivia too.
Right.
Just trivia, and then there was one with logos
Right.
that, and you can win trinkets, for your team or whatever. But
Deck of cards,
yeah,
a Norwegian pen. Yeah.
yeah. But then they have lots of talks and demonstrations.
They do. Those are always pretty interesting,
yeah.
especially when the chef does it. He
Yeah, we've
does
seen him
different,
do different things.
yeah.
One time there was a comedian, and he did a comedian juggler, and so he did a little thing where we all went to a lounge, and he tried to teach us all how to juggle.
Right.
So there's those kind of things. They will have, if I recall, also somebody on the staff will talk about an upcoming port and the
Yeah.
excursions you
Yeah.
can go to, as well as the ubiquitous
Diamonds
3 or 4
International. The
somewhere with pearls and
the
what's the
color
one
changing.
yeah, the sun changes. Those shops are at, it seemed like every port
Yeah.
of call.
I mean, it's not a cruise unless you stop, offer bamboo sheets or something.
Yeah, correct. So those are different things.
Right,
you can
and then
go to.
there's the art gallery.
Right.
So that was always very interesting. And if you go to the right one, they'll maybe pass you a glass of champagne, and
Yeah.
and you learn a lot. And you too can own a Picasso.
That's true. But we found sometimes that there was so much going on, we couldn't do everything.
No, we couldn't.
We had to sit there and go, wait a minute, we can go this, and then we're going to have to run down 6 decks and over and to make it to the next thing we wanted to, or
So
well,
it
we
really
can't do
just
2 at once.
depends on, how bad your FOMO is.
Yeah, but
Of course, in the evening you have all of the shows that are in
Right.
the theater, but we've been on some cruises where they had movies that you
Right.
could go to in the theater.
right,
There have been a couple, maybe they were transatlantic, but at the end of the cruise, it was a talent show.
Yeah.
And so different people could sign up, and they had like a choir. So you got together 2 or 3 times and sang a song, and then you presented that at the talent show. That was
Yeah.
always a lot of fun, just to get to know other people.
And a lot of that we found seemed to disappear with COVID, and then some of that is slowly coming back. There's
Hopefully.
other stuff
Yeah.
like the chef's table was one time and it disappeared even before COVID.
Yeah.
But that was a fun event that we did. But then there's also different events that cruisers initiate.
Yeah, like the one that we put together for International Photography Day or something
Whatever
like
it was, yeah.
whatever it was, and we happened to be in the Azores, and just a whole group of people that wanted to take pictures got together, and
Yeah,
then we shared our
share the
pictures. So that
pictures.
was a lot of fun.
But there's also like slot pulls.
Hmm.
Everybody puts in money and they go to one slot machine and share the winnings or losings.
Left,
pub-
right, center,
Card game.
right?
And people, and that was a big one. That was probably 50 people in the room.
Yeah.
But we've seen where people just, I like to play bridge, so
Yeah.
we're going to get together. I like to play mahjong, so I want to get together with just
Right.
a small group of people. What were some of the other pub crawls, cabin
Right.
crawls,
And whether
meet and greets?
because we didn't fit in the demographics, I don't know if it was, I think it's a cruise thing, but I know all of the solo cruisers meet
Oh, yeah.
every day,
Yeah,
and Friends of Bill meet every day. So
Right.
you have
subgroups that do that.
you have people. If you want to get together with people, you can.
Right.
If people are your thing, if they're not, you'll
Yeah.
be happy as a
Yeah.
something.
But
But there are things to do or not do.
and that brings me, somebody was asking the other day about Catholic Mass. And there have been religious services, but
Yeah.
it takes, a rabbi, a priest, a pastor that's willing to run a service to step forward and talk to the staff and get a room. And
Right.
in the
And
past,
if you do
we've
it
seen-
ahead of time, you can even get into the daily.
Right, and then it will be advertised, and that's something for them to do. So, at the end of the day, were we ever bored?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. In fact, between what the ship does, what other cruisers do, what we were able to find on our own,
Yeah, I mean, so like pre-COVID, there was a group of people that we ended up sharing a table with, and we got together and shared many meals with them. And
Yeah.
so that was a lot of fun. It's just a nice way of getting to know other people.
a handful of
If
people. So there were
that's-
8 of us,
Yeah,
and I think it was on Cruise Critic,
yeah,
that we said, hey, does anybody want to, because every meal, you don't have an assigned table with
Right.
freestyle. You
Right.
don't have an
On
assigned
Norwegian,
group
right.
of people that you eat with. So this was like, all right, it's freestyle, but some evening meals we'd like to share with a particular group and get to know them. And we all met at the meet and greet, and we laid
Yeah.
out which meals, and I think we even did a specialty meal together.
I think so.
So again, on sea days, do you get bored?
No.
It's a different vibe
Yes.
than running into a port and going on an excursion
Right.
every single day.
Right.
It's like you said, it's relaxing. And
It can be.
we were supposed to be on. We had originally booked a cruise for the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
which would have started like 4 or 5 days ago,
Right.
and that was port intensive.
Yes.
Every city you go to, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to go in and see this and see that.
Yes.
And even then, I don't see all that I want to see.
No.
And it's boom, 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 boom. And we kind of decided, when we like to cruise,
Yeah.
we like to relax.
Well, the first couple of times we tried to do an excursion pretty much every port.
Yeah.
And I think it was when we did a back-to-back that we finally is like, oh, wait a minute. It's a lot more relaxing if we don't do something every
Yeah.
port. So it really just depends on
Yeah.
your
Are you?
stamina, maybe.
Well, that too. And what are you going? Is it just you're going on a cruise to take a break, enjoy the food, enjoy some people, enjoy relaxation,
Right.
or are you going on a cruise because you want to see Rome in a day, see
Yeah.
Santorini in a day, see Venice in a day?
Yeah.
And everybody has their different
Right.
motivation, their different purpose for
Right.
cruising, and I think at the end of the day, that's it. What
I mean,
fits?
that's the
What
lovely thing
fits?
about a cruise
Yeah.
is that you can be in one room and unpack once and go and see all of these other things. And I mean,
Yeah.
we've enjoyed just going in and walking around and not necessarily doing something.
Right.
So
Right.
I like the Panama Canal. I mean, I was on a hunt for Starbucks
Mugs.
mugs. So and Alaska too. That was, we had some adventures,
Yeah.
going after those mugs. But and we got to see a lot of things and meet people and that kind of stuff
Yeah.
without necessarily doing or spending a whole lot.
Right.
Except for taxis.
But I would say some of our memorable times
Mm-hmm.
are simply on the ship
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying the ship and the people and the events on the ship.
Right.
So, we're getting ready to spend 26 days.
That's a lot of
That's
days.
on two different transatlantics, and out of 26 days, I think 17 or 18 of them are sea days.
Yeah.
Now,
Sounds lovely to me.
it'll now the question will be in a couple months, are we going to say, oh my gosh, I was bored on day 15 or 16?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But anyway, we hope we have shared a little bit from our experience and from our perspective. We love sea days.
Yep.
And we have never been bored.
Nope.
So it's really up to you. What are you looking for in a cruise?
Right.
And again, we love Norwegian, and because it offers us what we want. And so if this has been helpful,
What do you like to do on sea days?
well, also, what do we want them to do?
Well, yes, we do want you to like this video.
Subscribe.
Ring the bell if you want to hear about the next one. But we would
then-
love a comment.
yeah.
What kind of things do you like to do? What,
Search for ducks.
there you go.
that's
We
the
hid
thing.
ducks one time.
Yeah,
that
we
was a
did.
lot of fun.
So yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So what is your special or unique
Yeah.
thing that you like to do on a sea day? So catch us next time.
Travel well.